We are recording.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yes, 3, 2, 1, let's jam. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Welcome to the Game Dads podcast. We are, let me introduce myself before I just jump into a topic. My name is Aaron, and I am here with my hetero life mate.
Allow myself to introduce myself. My name is Richie Cunningham. This is my wife, Oprah. Actually, I'm Brett. No.
Yeah, you know this guy. So,
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going well.
I
Life's good.
I have had an insane 2 weeks. I feel like I say that every time I'm on here, but like it's been wild.
Yeah. Forgot.
So let me start by saying the reason that I ended up being late is because I had to go get my hair redone. So I like planned everything out. I was like, I'm gonna plan this out so that everything lines up perfectly. I'm gonna get to the braiding place at 1, get my hair braided, go directly from there to the place to get my haircut done, go back home, grab Andrea's Mother's Day gift, and then back in the house, freaking 3:30, be ready for a podcast, and we'll do some podcasting. Like, I planned it all out, and like, I got there on time, and I was like, yeah. And then the lady who was braiding my hair, just her vibes alone, I was like, oh, this is a new girl. This is for sure a new girl.
You don't have
And
the same person?
no,
Like,
no. Like, because of because of like we're in the new age, I did literally schedule my braiding sessions on a website, and I can choose the braider that I want. But if you choose the braider, then you have to like, be inside of their schedule. But if you just pick any, then you pretty much got an open schedule to get it done whenever you want. So like, I was like, I need the specific time to make all this work. So like, and they gave me the new girl. Like, the place that I go to get my braids done is like 100% like late. Like, everybody there is from Africa. Like, speaks like, I'll like, I won't even try and guess what language they are speaking, but like, it is definitely an African language. Like, like, there are a couple girls there that speak English, but there are clearly other girls there who do not speak English. Like, the girl who's doing my braids, like, barely speaks English. And so like, another girl has to come in and like translate to her what she's saying. So I have a new girl who doesn't speak English braiding my hair.
oh, geez.
So I what I specifically ordered, the website has like specifics. Like, this is what you want to do, this is how long it takes. This is what you want to do, this is how long it takes. So I was getting 6 cornrows. 6 cornrows is 30 minutes. I was like, perfect. I can go. I got some wiggle room in case, something takes a little longer or whatever. And then I get my haircut. So I set my appointment at 1, thinking 30-minute appointment, setting that at 1, and then setting my haircut at 2. I'm going to be waiting before I get my haircut done. So when I just sit down, she starts braiding my hair, and like, I instantly know something's up. She's on her like 3rd or 4th braid, and she's nowhere near the top of my head. And I'm like, this is supposed to be 6 braids. How are you going to get 6 braids in my hair when you aren't even close to the top of my head yet? So I'm sitting, and then I'm counting as she's braiding, and I'm like, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm like, oh God, how many braids is this going to be? 11, 12, 13, 14. And I'm like, and I can't, she doesn't speak English, so I can't like, hey, this is supposed to be 6. She's not doesn't understand a word I'm saying. So like, I get done. She gets done. I have 15 braids in my head when it's supposed to be 6.
15?
15. I didn't even think I had enough hair for her to get 15, but 15 braids in my head. Cornrows in my head. 15. And instead of taking 30 minutes, it is now taken an hour and 15 minutes.
Is she just, well, you said she's new. Was she young? Is she older? Like,
she's in that magical black lady phase where like she's somewhere between 25 and 65, and I couldn't tell you.
Oh my god.
Like
What's the old saying? Black don't crack.
exactly. Like she was I could tell that she was beyond teenager, but like between that and being like, and she's not an old lady, but I can't tell you in between that what she was.
Oh my gosh.
So like I'm getting my hair done, and like I think she can start to feel that like I'm like, you're taking too long. I need to get out of here. So like she gets done, and I'm like, I hop up and I'm like, how much do I owe you? Let me get you, let's go to the counter, let's pay. But like she can't even run the counter because she doesn't speak English or read English. So she can't run the register to like ring me up. So like another girl has to stop doing her braid that she's working on to come to the register to ring me up. So like,
So can they translate for her then?
yeah, like, so like they're translating back and forth, but like apparently she forgot like to like spray and oil my hair after we were done. So like the girl at the register sees me and she's like, "Hey, get over here." And like they're talking, and like they're completely talking in their different language. Like like I have no idea what they're saying back and forth, but then like she's like comes back with a spray bottle, and she's like trying to tell me to duck down so she can spray the top of my head. So like I'm like stooped in like a little like crouch position while she's she's spraying the stuff on the top of my head. The other girl's got the card reader like pointing it at me, and I'm like, oh man, this is already not going well. So
Oh my gosh.
I hop in the car after this, and I go to the barber to get like my edges and all my lines done. And I get there, and he is working on another dude. So I automatically assume I'm 15 minutes late. I assume his next customer was there, and he was just like, I don't see this guy, so let's just get started. So turns out he was running 20 minutes late. So I got there and I wasn't late. That was the customer before me. So
Yeah, that could set everything back.
yeah, so then I get in, his chair finally and start getting my hair done, and I get all of it done. Like I look from the last time you saw me, I genuinely look completely different. Like I look like a completely like everything is different. It's weird and it's crazy. I kind of love it. But like then he gets done, and then I forgot that he doesn't take cards, he only takes cash. So then I have to like hop out, drive to an ATM, get cash for him, drive back, drop it off, then drive home. So then I'm driving home, and like as I'm driving home, like I realize the Mother's Day present that I picked out for Andrea, like this is the only time I'm going to be able to have a chance to go get it. So I have to go to the place because Andrea can hear me, to get the thing because Andrea can hear me. And then like as I'm sitting in line waiting at the place to get the thing, I realize I'm like, there is absolutely no way I'm going to make it home by 3:30. It's just not possible at this point. So I sent you that text, and I was like, I'll be home at 4. So I get everything, and then I run home. So like I have delicious food in front of me, but I haven't gotten a chance to eat it yet because we need to get on this podcast.
If it makes you feel any better, I am also very hungry. I don't have food sitting in front of me though, but I I could eat. I could eat.
All right.
So yeah, dude. Not There's stuff going on, but I don't know, man. Probably not like the greatest place in the world to talk about stuff.
Yeah,
Life's good.
yeah. I was like, I know what's going on in your neck of the woods, and I empathize and hope everything goes well. But definitely, we can just talk about something else.
That's all good. My dad had surgery this week, so we've been kind of helping him out. And that's tough because my dad's kind of stubborn. So I mean, go figure. I am too. The real question is, would your braid lady be willing to braid the first level of Ms. Pac-Man into my head?
I would bet if any, like, if you were trying to get it done anywhere, I bet the ladies there could do it. I bet they could.
Would they laugh at me?
I can't reply to that. I don't know for sure if they would laugh, but I bet they do it. I bet if you went in
Okay.
there, if your hair was long enough and you went in there and was like, I want the first level of Pac-Man braided into my hair, they'd be like $200 and
Ms.
they'd just
Pac-Man.
get started.
Ms. Pac.
Miss Pac-Man,
Yeah.
excuse
Big difference.
me. All right.
I have a question for you.
Please,
Icebreaker question.
please go right
Just
ahead.
real simple. Real simple. Do you think Jesus used a level when he was a carpenter, or did he just know?
That that's a pretty good question. I feel like he probably could have not used the level, but he was like on that Superman kick where he wanted to appear as a human
Well,
being, so he did it out of just like, like just out of like respect for all the other carpenters around him. He was like, I just want to make it look normal.
I got you. I got you. Allie's out of town right now, and I really stoned, and that
Mm,
popped into my head.
it's all good.
Yeah.
I I like I when I put on the list that I wanted to do the Toriyama thing and this Kendrick and Drake beef, but I feel like the Toriyama thing needs more time, but I'm absolutely
Yeah.
stoked to talk about this fucking Kendrick and Drake beef. I am so excited to talk about it.
So, do you know how I told you I was going to do my homework?
Did you Google who Kendrick Lamar and Drake are?
I know who they both are. I'm no simpleton, sir.
I'm
But I purposely did not Google the beef because I thought it'd be more funny if I could just react to it naturally.
okay. I will absolutely. I want to do what you playing first, but then I will absolutely give you the debrief on this beef.
Oh, so you wonder what I'm playing? Okay, right on. We'll save my two little segments for later because I do have a couple things that I want to introduce into Brett's Father
Oh yeah.
and new segment. I finally got the platinum trophy in Persona 5 Royal. I am no longer playing it. I don't even want to look at it. I am so sick and tired of anime babes in every aspect of my life. Uh, I spent 140 hours with those characters. I think it ended up being like 141 something, blah, 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 and change. Never again. No, sir. That game was too long. That game was like 80 hours too long. But I loved it. It was so good. I thought the regular ending with Shido was great. I love Akechi's end.
God, it that it
You
I
know,
love I
it was so
loved
good.
I love Persona 5. It was just I honestly like no like for it's a weird statement, especially because how much I enjoyed both. I honestly think the original ending without the DLC is actually better than the DLC ending.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. But the good thing about the DLC stuff, the royal content, if you will, I love Akechi's kind of redemption
Yeah.
arc, if you want to call it that. I think I texted you that they were basically just Goku and Vegeta. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of like it's boiling it down to just a real base level and stuff. But Akechi's got real Vegeta vibes,
Yeah.
and so the protagonist, I mean, definitely not the Goku type or anything like because he's not a simpleton, and you can make him into one, I guess, with some of the
Dialogue
twists you
choices,
pick.
yeah.
But yeah, but like base level, like he's kind of just whatever. He's your avatar. But Akechi, like that dude's full on Vegeta, and it's awesome. I love his whole thing. I didn't max out all the confidants, so the long goodbye actually ended up being just like, hey, it's kind of a short goodbye. But I picked on as
Dear lady.
my special lady. I felt like I made the best choice, and I will not hear otherwise. I didn't realize you could also romance Futaba, and she's cool, but I have a feeling that as soon as that trophy pops, it just immediately dials 911.
Yeah, 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 yep, exactly. Exactly.
So again, she's really cool. I love her as a character. Her introduction and complete 180 by the end of the game. I thought that was incredibly charming, especially when Sojiro,
Yeah.
who is the best dad. He's up there. He's up there with Piccolo, although he doesn't leave children in the wilderness for 6 months.
I actually like I was not this is an admission of my own naivete, but like I was not prepared for Sojiro when I first started the game, and I was like, this dude can suck my. He needs to quit messing with me. And then like
Yeah,
over the course of the game, after like he starts to warm to you, and like you meet Futaba and you get to learn more about his backstory and why he's like that. I was like, this is the guy right here.
yeah.
Like put him
I
right
mean,
there with the freaking Ryuji. I would die for this man. Like,
yeah. Well, Ryuji's great too. I was pretty close to maxing out his confidant. I think the only one I didn't actively enjoy was Yusuke. Yusuke may as well call him useless. No, I didn't. I didn't really like Yusuke. But yeah, it was a great game. Like I said, it was incredibly long. It was way too long. I felt the same thing about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think those games are, especially at least with Final Fantasy, like a lot of that stuff is optional content.
mhm.
With Persona, you have to live out those days. And you could go to bed immediately if you want to. I mean, but at the very least, you have to start eating every one of those days.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember. I played and beat PS2 version of Persona 3 and non-golden Persona 4, and I got about halfway through golden. None of those are anywhere near as long as P5 Royal. So, but when I finished up with that, I've only got like one actual other game I'm playing right now, even though I just bought a whole bunch of them. I needed something that was just short and sweet. So I beat Devil May Cry in one sitting.
All right.
Dude, like that game still holds up. The granddaddy of the modern day character acting game. It still holds up. I mean, there's a couple things that are a little bit uh outdated. Of
Mm.
course, it's 20 plus years old. And Devil May Cry 5, I think is like the best Devil May Cry game. But for what Devil May Cry, the original one was, I I wanted a PS2 for that game. Like that was my killer app for that console. And I bought a bunch of other games when it came out too. GTA 3 and Final Fantasy 10, but Devil May Cry was the game, especially after playing Resident Evil 2. And the director of that game went on to make Devil May Cry, and just and then eventually Bayonetta.
Bayonetta's
Dude,
the
I'll
shit.
I'll follow Kamiya, to the ends of the earth, dude. Okami, like
Mhm.
that dude, just for as much of a prick as that guy is, like he has shaped my video game tastes
Mm.
and preferences in ways that, like, I wouldn't even say Miyamoto did, or Ivy Anuma, from The Legend of Zelda, or
Mm.
why am I blanking on Mega Man?
For,
That's gonna bother me.
for
Inafune.
Inafune. I was like,
Yeah,
I know it's Fune something.
yeah, Keiji Inafune. But yeah, I mean, even like something like that, just the fine folks at Capcom back in the day, dude.
That is,
Just
it's just that style of combat. It just, it's one of those things that like takes you from like I'm pressing buttons to like I am like in a dynamic fight, and it feels so good every time.
well, and that's how I feel about Street Fighter. Everything in Street Fighter is, and you can button mash, but button mashing is more for like Mortal Kombat type stuff. Street Fighter is a elegant, especially if you get two people that know what they're doing. It's an elegant back and forth dance, kind of. It's a fight.
Yeah.
And I think Devil May Cry, again, for all of its, the warts that it has, from the last 20 plus years and stuff, but it took that technicality of a Street Fighter and morphed it into a single player, not story based, because I mean the story in that game is hilarious, but a action adventure game,
Yeah.
single player.
Yeah.
And
Like,
I mean, it's a fighting game.
and they're like, this is off topic a little bit, but like, as more and more games come out that like kind of turn like the fighting game genre, and it kind of has gotten more I don't even know if prestige might be the right word for it, because like fighting games have never not been popular, but like it wasn't like it wasn't like the when Tekken 8 came out, like like people were freaking out. Like it was all over everything everybody was talking about was Tekken 8 for a while. Like,
Yeah.
and fighting games like have never really had that kind of grandeur, and I feel like as they get that, the thing that I've noticed is like even as fighting games get more grandeur, Street Fighter has this like purity to it. Like that fight where that Ken versus Chung Li in the finals fight, where he parries all of Chung Li's final combo and then kills her at 1 bar of health. That fight happened years ago, and you can still like find references to it and clips of it, and people wearing T-shirts of Ken blocking freaking Chung Li's feet. Like Street Fighter has this just like it's down. It's got its system down to such a science that like it's like so like elegant and like beautiful when two players at a high level are playing it, no matter what's going on.
And then you got me over here. It's just the master of the low kick, you know? Your shins don't stand a chance.
Not one.
But,
Like,
with something like Devil May Cry, though, like that takes the anxiety out of it for me, fighting somebody else. And, when we were growing up, like I had no problem, fighting you guys. It was never like the best or anything like that. With Devil May Cry, it gives you a chance to really, I don't know, especially for somebody that gets nervous about playing with other people like that, like me.
mm,
I can sit there and learn that character without, or that particular enemy or boss or whatever, without somebody like staring at me or I don't know, get
yeah,
hazed online or whatever. But
yeah, I get you. So
I don't like when people yell at me.
I well then it's really good that you don't really like multiplayer online games, because
Yeah, there was a time. There was a time, dude.
I had a very strong Overwatch phase, and nothing
See
makes
now, I didn't even like that stuff, like it because it kind of got more like you're playing for skins or whatever, like the or whatever you're about to unlock. I mean,
mhm.
I don't want to sound like that guy, like the old guy or whatever, but I like this, like the gear stuff, the Halo stuff, where you're playing more just because it's the fun game, not necessarily about what you're getting ready to unlock.
Yeah, I was one of those people. Like I literally like Overwatch gives you this, gives you the option where you can just buy skins, or buy coins to roll for more skins, or roll for coins to roll for however they do it now. But like it was never a thing for me. Like I never bought a single coin or anything like that. I just literally would just play for the fun of it. And then like just because I played so much, which was an insane amount. I played so much that I would have money for anything that I wanted to buy, and I would buy it for the characters that I cared about, and the other characters don't have jack. And I was just like, this is just, it was just, I was just into it because I was just enjoying playing the game. And that's why it like was a double blow when, all of the Blizzard stuff went down. And then on top of that, they deleted Overwatch 1 and then created Overwatch 2 on top of it. And I was like, as much fucking time as I put into Overwatch to get all of this stuff, and you guys just deleted the game for no reason, can't you just leave it up so that people who want to play Overwatch 1 can play it? Like, nope. We just deleted the entirety of Overwatch. So like during the last like week that Overwatch was around, I like re-downloaded it, and I just like played a little while just to enjoy the time I had left with it. And then when they created Overwatch 2, I was just like, okay, I'm done. This is a completely different game. The 1,000+ hours I spent in this game are all deleted. All the characters are, I don't get skins or anything for all the trouble and all the time I played the original. It's just like gone. I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, that's really frustrating. And again, like I think that those ever changing multiplayer games, I think those are the ones that stress me out the most. Is, I could take time off or whatever and play something else. You know me, I like to play a lot of different things, and I'm usually not on the same thing for too long. And if I take any amount of time off of those multiplayer games, I feel like, I'm missing out on either, people are, have time to get better than me or whatever. And, especially when they start tweaking things like in the Overwatch days or, something like Team Fortress or whatever, it's not the same balance that I know. Whereas something
Hmm.
like Halo or Gears, I know that as long as I know the map, and the weapons that I like or whatever, I can stand a chance. It may take me a couple matches to get my legs back, but at the very least, I'm not fighting, an obsessive online community or anything like that. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Like, even when I was super into Overwatch back in the day, there were like the Overwatch that I played because like I'm not sure if I started Overwatch like at the very beginning when it first dropped or if it was a little later, but like the Overwatch that was the game when I started playing it is so different from the Overwatch that was like by the time the game ended. Like some of the weirdest things that I think about in that game were like when just this is just a random example. When I started playing Overwatch, Diva was like the second most used character in the entire game because like she had this really awesome kit and like there weren't a lot of characters that could counter her. And then like as they slowly started introducing more characters, she literally became like the worst character in the game because like if you're playing Diva, someone can just play, freaking someone just play Doomfist and just punch you out of your mech off the map every time you try to do anything because the game makes you like whenever Diva is like using her ability, she almost has to fully stop, which is like, oh, hey, that's you know, but all I have to do is just line of sight and then I can just blast you. And if I hit you hard enough to destroy your mech, then guess what? That's game over for you. You're just dead. Like she became like one of the worst characters in the game. And then at the beginning of the game, she was like one of the best.
Yeah. You know, those class-based games, man, that's the kind of stuff that gets me. But I don't know how we got on that subject.
Yeah, that was random. It just popped us up.
Oh, the fighting game stuff. But
That's
yeah,
a tangent of a tangent.
that's what I'm playing.
All right.
Other things. I got a whole bunch of new games, dude. I'm looking forward to getting into them.
I I've been playing like honestly, I've played a little bit of Final Fantasy since the last time we talked, but I've just been so busy I haven't really gotten a chance to sit down and play it.
Have you beat it yet?
No. And
Where are you? I'm just curious.
I I did the I've done like the first quest when you go back to the Golden Saucer. I haven't done the second part of it yet.
Okay.
So
I'm not super worried about spoilers and stuff. At this point, the game's been out for like, over 90 days. You had your chance. So, but I'm not gonna like, I mean, not to spoil the ending of the game, but like where you're at and all that stuff. Does that make sense?
yeah, I get what you're saying. I just I haven't like basically what happened to me was I got side quest fever and like I know that I'm coming up on the last parts of the game and like all these other side quests popped up and I just like I can't stop myself. I just like, oh, someone wants to battle me in cards. I'm like, oh, let's go do that. And I've just been cleaning up all the rest of those side quests. And then the fact that there's an entire ocean bar in the map and it's completely empty is really bothering me.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm even gonna get into it or if I'm gonna just play the game, finish the game, and then like go into my new game plus and start doing it. But because I think I need to beat it because like you've been saying, everyone's kind of getting a little bit more loose with how the game ends, and videos online are popping up like, oh, let me explain Final Fantasy Rebirth's ending, and I'm like, I need to get this game done before I get spoiled. I need to finish it, but I just between trying to find the time to do it and you know
Oh yeah.
and then
And to be fair though, I wouldn't spoil the end of the game if that makes sense for anybody. I don't care what the statute of limitations is.
yeah.
But like the stuff that's like in the game itself, like yeah, that's fair game at this point.
So that been playing a little bit of Dragon Ball Z Fighters just because I got love for that game and some reason sometimes I can't put it down. I'm playing a mobile game for the first time in like 3 years.
With that game developer game.
I mean, other than that one, it's not really a mobile game. It's just a game that I
It was
downloaded on
all
mobile.
mobile.
Yeah. But this is solo leveling Arise. And here's the thing, it has the mobile action game gameplay loop. And I wanted anything different than that. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to be playing it. It's, it's fun. It's in a great world. The solo leveling world is awesome. It's literally built to be like a video game. So like it everything in the game feels right, but it's like it's just like run around. Three monsters appear, you fight them, you kill them, you run around. Three monsters appear, you fight them, you kill them, you run around. Three monsters appear, you fight them, you kill them, you run around. And then the boss monster appears who looks exactly like the other monster, but he has a red square on his head and more HP. Fight that guy, you kill him, cutscene. Like I,
I think you just described Final Fantasy IV.
it's just like, I, I wanted something more out of it. I don't know what I was expecting to find, but I wanted something more. Like
Yeah.
maybe more like an MMO type of feel where you like group up with people and do quests and stuff, but it just I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna give it a little bit more time because I like solo leveling that much that I'm just gonna give it some more time to see if anything, you know, changes or progresses or but it's starting to
Yeah.
feel like, oh, you've got 5 pulls. You better draw the super rare disc.
Is it pixel graphics or like 3D graphics?
It's 3D graphics. It looks beautiful. Like it's I think it's literally they're releasing a PC version of it later this year, and like the graphics on my phone look like it wouldn't be a miss on PC. Like it looks great. Like I said, the world's awesome, but it's just I hate this gameplay loop, and I
Yeah.
can already see what's coming. It's like, oh well, you could either pay us $50 or you can wait a day to mine for more resources. Oh, you don't have enough keys to go into the dungeon to fight. Like, I mean,
Oh, dude, no. That's a hard pass from old Brentley.
okay. So then I had the epiphany moment, the a moment in my soul that clicked, and I was like,
Yeah.
I spent so much time because before I had I upgraded my PC recently. Before I had this hard drive that only had a little bit of space on it, so I'd never really like had a bunch of games installed on my computer at the same time because like I didn't want to use up all the extra space. But I have a new hard drive which has more space than I could possibly use. Well, that's not true. When I was doing freaking live streaming and YouTube, you can devour hard drive space when you do YouTube, saving videos and stuff. But I was like, I'm gonna download games. I'm gonna go through my libraries and see what games in there that I really want to play that I haven't gotten a chance to sit down and play. I have tons of games I haven't played yet. And like I went through and downloaded installed like 25 games on my computer. Like this is a game that I was so excited for that like it was like it's like an indie game. I pre-ordered it. I was so excited for it to come out, and I still haven't played it. Like I
What
like
is that?
Terra Nil. It's like SimCity in reverse. So like SimCity, and obviously you're building a city, but like Terra Nil is like the city you're like has basically been destroyed. You're in like a desolate wasteland, but like your job is to clear up all of the crazy trash and waste and take this like barren wasteland and then like turn it into a forest. Like the point of each level is to like turn that area into like a forest, and then afterwards your job is to take all of the stuff that you use to make all of it and like get it off the planet.
Hmm.
So like
Like Wally.
yeah, so like yeah, it's basically Wally. Like you plant trees and you like, dig up like like old like buildings and concrete, and then like you ship them back, and then like they're like you have like a little spaceship that you like send it back to like the terraforming satellite. So like I was like, SimCity in reverse, that sounds awesome. So like I bought it. I paid for it. I paid for like the when it was on this little Kickstarter, I paid the Kickstarter price to get like ground floor, get my name in it. Like I did the fucking like got like the fucking deluxe edition and got everything, and it's on my computer, and I have not played it. And I was like, I'm installing Terra Nil right now, and I'm gonna play it next time I get a chance to play games. And like that Guardians of the Galaxy game, that installed on my computer. I got freaking
game's so good.
I haven't touched it. I've owned it since we started this podcast, I think, and I have not played it.
I don't give them that often, but that one gets to be a seal of approval.
Yeah, I know it's awesome. We've had a conversation on the podcast about how awesome that game is, and in that conversation I told you how that I owned it now, and I still have not played it. And I'm like, I'm gonna sit my ass down and play some of these games. Like I'm not buying another new game except for like I think it's called like Eukaryon Chronicles. It's like the game that's like the spiritual successor to Suikoden.
Yeah, I know the name of that game. Is it not Ayuden Chronicles, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then like
how'd you pronounce it? How'd you pronounce the game?
Eukaryon.
No. The other one.
Suikoden?
I've never known how to pronounce that. And on a podcast years ago, dude, this guy that like lived in Japan used to listen to podcasts beyond quite a bit. He called it Suikoden.
I think, okay, here's what I think.
And I don't know what's right.
I think Suikoden is the Japanese pronouncing it in the Japanese way. It's the Naruto in comparison to Naruto. Yeah. But like, as an American just reading the title, it's Suikoden. But like, in Japanese, where you have to pronounce every syllable of every letter and every vowel has to be a long vowel, it's Suikoden. Like it's the Naruto versus Naruto thing. Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway.
So I'm gonna straight up just like okay, first of all, I'm sure you of all people know that a spiritual successor to Suikoden is up my alley, and I would totally buy it. You know that, right?
Yeah, me too. It's on my list.
Okay, so don't like, for all of you judgies, don't judge me for this, but like the internet had a little meltdown about it, and that made me want to buy it more. I have to buy it just to like say screw you guys, because like apparently, I don't know if it was hidden during development, but one of the main characters of that game is a black girl, and people lost their fucking minds about it. Like, people lost their fucking minds about it. Oh, well, the woke got involved in the production of this game because one of these things is not like the other. Look at these two characters, and then there's a black girl. So obviously the woke guys got involved and made them add a black main character. It's like, Suikoden has always had black characters. What the f*** are you talking about? Like, so I was like,
dude,
I'm like, I know I should not be basing my gaming decisions off of dumb people on Twitter, but that one I was just like, okay, I'm absolutely buying this game. 100%.
Yeah. I've only done that once, and it was with the Harry Potter game. I bought that, not specific. Like, I like Harry Potter, and like I know like J.K. Rowling's and all that stuff, like, whatever, but I don't agree with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the people that are like, I don't know, calling for the game to be canceled, all this other stuff, and like people in their little brigades, like especially over something as silly as that, you can definitely. I don't even know like what to say other than like, God dang, I'm just glad I'm not on Twitter anymore.
I can say,
you know what I'm saying?
Like here's my thoughts on it. Like, J.K. Rowling's and her opinions are wrong. Period. But like,
agreed.
But like, sorry, there is an entire generation of people who grew up with Harry Potter before J.K. Rowling started running her mouth, and you can't erase their entire Harry Potter love history just because the writer is now a douchebag.
Well, I don't believe in the like they're now a douchebag. I mean, those were in my experience when people think like say stuff like that. Those are things that are like deep rooted. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I don't mean that. I don't mean that she like, oh my god, like tripped and hit her head and became a douchebag. I mean
Right. No, and
the people
I
who
didn't want to seem like I was challenging you either.
yeah, no, no problem. I'm just like the people who grew up on Harry Potter didn't know this about her, and they
Right.
would have had different opinions at the time, but like it doesn't erase the 20 years that they spent loving Harry Potter. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't like you can't just like okay, well, J.K. Rowling said something bad, so now everything that you've ever thought about Harry Potter goes out the window. And now, all of the love and time that you put in, all the friends that you met, and all of the experiences that you had because of Harry Potter, all of that goes away because she said something that people don't like. Like, I completely agree that the stuff that she says is bad. Like, she's almost in Nazi territory at this point. But like, that doesn't change that all those people's history with Harry Potter. And you
Yeah.
can't expect them to just be like, well, I just threw all of this in the trash. Like, sorry, but like the game was going to come
Right.
out. Like, just, people can separate, people don't have to, contribute to her now, but like you're going to have to separate the art from the artist a little bit here because there are people
Yeah.
who have spent their entire lives thinking, loving Harry Potter like I love anime, like you love video games. So you can't like, oh, she said something bad, so like,
Right.
all of those
Well,
actors who were involved in Harry Potter, the studio that created all the movies, every person along all of those people just erase them from your brains because J.K. Rowling said something bad.
well, see, and that's a great point too. Like a lot of the cast of that, and I guess I didn't really mean for it to get like this deep and stuff, but it's probably good for people to know like where we stand on things too, I guess. But not that it really matters on a video game podcast, I don't think. But like the whole good human being thing, I'd like to think I'm a good human being.
Yeah.
But anyway, to my point, the actors of that movie went and they stood with the trans community, and that speaks volumes. You know what I mean? They're still going to cash checks, from
Mm-hmm.
Warner Brothers and the Rowling estate and all that stuff, or
Yeah.
this.
I mean,
They're
those,
they're absolutely going to go cash those checks, but they can absolutely disagree with her as well. So they're separating, the I guess the person from the job, if that makes sense.
yeah, like
They're able,
most of those, like the main cast specifically, they spent their entire childhoods with Harry Potter. Like it was their entire lives from, you know, 10 or 11 to 25. Like they can't
right.
just like, oh, well, she said something bad, so guess all of my life is just gonna disappear and I can't be proud or happy about any of it. Like that's just not how it
Right.
works.
Well, and they use their platforms, their respective platforms that were built on the backs of people like J.K. Rowling to publicly disagree with her. So I mean, they're using their platform for what they feel is right, and I agree with them. I feel like they're right as well, but it's they're able to separate that stuff
All right.
to make sense, right? We
Well,
can, I mean, this could be a whole fucking podcast too.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So
but
in the vein, in a perfect segue, in the vein of childhood actors, let's talk about Drake and Kendrick because we're running out of time.
hit me.
So Drake and Kendrick. First of all, just as to start out here, I want to talk about these two guys individually before we start talking about this beef. So Drake is the highest selling artist of the 2010s. Like in the 2000s, the highest selling artist was Eminem. In the 2010s, it's Drake, and Drake's highest selling artist is more than Eminem's. So Drake is officially in the record books as one of the highest selling artists of all time. So this is one side of the beef. Drake started okay, his, I can't remember if it's his dad or it's his grandpa. I think it might be his grandpa, but it could be his dad. I think it's his grandpa though. His grandpa. No, I'm sure it's his grandpa. So you know that song, Goodness Gracious, Great Balls of Fire?
Yeah.
That's Drake's grandpa. So,
Oh.
yes. So he has musical prestige in his family. That's Drake's grandpa. So,
Did you just use musical prestige?
yeah. Yeah.
Describe Great Balls of Fire. Oh, it's Jerry Lee Lewis, by the way.
I'm gonna say, come on. Do you know a single person who is under the age of 25 or above the age of 25 who doesn't know that song? That's musical prestige. Okay. So Drake starts his career as an actor. He was in a show called Degrassi.
Degrassi, yeah, that's where Allie.
Yeah. So he starts in Degrassi. Then after leaving Degrassi, he starts his music career. He meets Lil Wayne. He lets Lil Wayne hear some of his music. Lil Wayne is absolutely floored by him, signs him on the spot. He releases a mixtape. Then his first album goes platinum. And he basically has been, nothing but star quality up from that point. Like every Drake album is platinum. Every Drake album is number one on the charts. Almost every song he has the most number one hit songs on the top 100 of all time. Like he's like album wise, he's one album away from Michael Jackson and taking that record. Like as much as it's like, dude's from Canada, he's actually like a musical powerhouse. So then we go to the other side and we go to Kendrick. Now, Kendrick was discovered by Dr. Dre. Basically put out his first 3 albums. Each of them are platinum. They sold less than Drake's albums, but they're all platinum. But Kendrick has the unique only musician in the entire world who has ever won a Pulitzer for a studio album. So Kendrick can write.
What's the name of this album?
Damn. It is just damn. Kendrick Lamar. Damn.
Okay.
So the thing that separates these two is Drake can make songs. He is a hit maker. I mean, his legacy is nothing but proof that he is a hit maker. Like I said, the number is insane. It's like songs that he has had that are like number one on the charts is like 140 or something like that. Like stupid. It's ridiculous. And then Kendrick is the writer. He is, like I said, his writing on Damn is so good that he won a writer award. Like the Pulitzer is a writer award. Like friggin' Mark Twain has a Pulitzer and Kendrick Lamar. Like, so in like very specific, but very like real ways, both of these guys are like at the top of the music game. So the beef starts because Drake and J. Cole, who's just another rapper, but he's equally talented, but he doesn't have the prestige of either of these two guys. Like Kendrick, like J. Cole is probably like the third or fourth best rapper who's still alive and making music right now. So Drake and J. Cole get on a record together, and it's called First Person Shooter. And they basically say that who's the best rapper in the game right now is between Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole. But in the song, both of them make their, in their separate verses, basically say, there's a big 3 between the 3 of us, but I'm number 1. Apparently, Kendrick did not take that well. So he releases a song where he literally says, fuck the big 3, it's just big me. And then he takes individual shots at J. Cole and Drake. So this is the start of the beef. J. Cole immediately comes back and he drops a song where he basically says, "Hey Kendrick, your that damn album is nothing but respected, but everything else you made is crap. You should shut up. You should shut up. Get out of my face." Then from what's been said, another rapper whose name is Schoolboy Q goes up to J. Cole and goes, "Dude, you do not want the drama that's about to happen. Delete that record and apologize to Kendrick." And whatever he said to him got him so shook that like, I'm gonna start with, these are rappers literally at the top of the rap game. Like, all of these dudes are like top of the rap game. J. Cole was like, "You are right. I am going to get on stage. I am publicly going to apologize to Kendrick for making this song, and I'm going to delete it."
Hey,
So,
that's never happened.
I cannot think of a time where anybody has deleted a diss against someone at the behest of like someone else and said like, "I am deleting this. I'm sorry. I took this too far. I still am a big fan of yours. I don't want to get into this beef."
Yeah.
So that happened. The internet was absolutely shook. They were like, J. Cole's a bitch. I can't believe he deleted his diss. What a loser, blah, blah, blah. So that happens. Then Drake is like, "Nah, I'm going to go in." And he makes the song. He releases his first diss track back to Kendrick called Push Ups. And
sidebar real quick.
Yeah.
Sidebar. So the internet was trying to fan the flames and make them, this dude like respectfully dipped out and said, I'm okay. Like, this is going to get taken too far.
Oh God.
And does the adult thing.
Yeah.
Now, I understand if we were kids, that would be considered a bitch move. You follow through, right?
Right.
Here I am now as an almost 39-year-old man, adult,
Mm-hmm.
we'll say adult, individual. And I can see him like that. That seems like the adult thing to do. It's just, hey, apologize. I'm sorry. And then, that's it. And then all these motherfuckers, these anonymous motherfuckers, are like, "No, you're a bitch. Like, you need to stand up and fight. You won't do it.
That is
exactly
what happened. That is exactly what happened. He apologized and the internet called him a bitch for 3 weeks straight. So that happens. Then Drake releases a song called Push Ups where he basically, like, it's a diss, but it's not like what we're about to talk about later. It's a diss, but it's not like what we're about to talk about later. He calls Kendrick short. Kendrick is short, says he has small feet, like, says that he's broke, says that, like, he's not going to put out he's not going to make as much money as Drake does. This is just classic beef stuff. Now I got to pull this up real quick because the diss tracks get fast and deep after this one. So I'm going to Google this real quick so I get these right. Because there's literally, at this point, there's a Wikipedia article about the Drake and Kendrick beef. I've seen it. Okay. So then after Push Ups comes out, he also releases because Kendrick did a song with Taylor Swift. So Drake releases a diss that's basically saying like, he releases this diss, which got taken down because it got copyrighted, where he basically, because Kendrick is this big West Coast guy, so like Tupac and Dre and Snoop are his like big idols and the people he like.
Yeah.
So like Drake releases a song where he uses AI version of Tupac and Snoop's voices to basically talk shit about Kendrick and talk about how he's a bitch.
Oh my God.
So this happens, and then Kendrick is beyond pissed. Like, he is absolutely beyond pissed. So he drops this song called Euphoria, where Euphoria is basically I would say it's the lowest below the belt shot I have ever seen in music. Euphoria is literally Kendrick basically talking about how Drake is this horrible person and how he's, you know, he's like a drug addict and how he's a gambling addict and a sex addict and just like every below the belt punch that you could possibly think of, Kendrick's just going off. Like he's losing his mind talking about Drake.
Yeah.
Like stuff that
Allie mentioned pedophilia.
yeah, there's I mean this that comes up later, but like he is the Euphoria one is just him just basically saying that Drake's a piece of shit and then he at towards the end of the song he basically tells Drake that according to him and the culture which follows him, Drake is no longer allowed to say the N word and he's no longer allowed to be in the USA.
Oh my God.
This is it's nuts. And then but after this, there's another one that's worse. So, and then after that one, there's another one that's even worse. Like, so he drops this. Then, like, the next day, he drops another diss track that's called 616 in LA. And it's just the same thing over again where he's just talking mad trash about Drake, everything about him, how he's a loser, he doesn't like how he dressed, he wants him to die, he hates him, like everything. Like he's losing his mind talking about Drake in this diss.
Jeez.
But in this one, he says something about Drake being a deadbeat dad and how he feels bad for his son because Drake isn't a man who can teach him anything and just all kinds of crap, like below the belt shit. So then Drake comes out with a song called Family Matters where he's like, all right, well, you're talking about my son. Well, let's talk about your kids. So Drake comes back and he says, okay, you're talking about my son. Well, and you're talking about how I'm not black enough and I'm not allowed to use the N word. Well, your wife is mixed. Do you talk like that to her? Your kids are mixed. Do you talk like that to them? Like, then he's like, and you beat your wife and one of your kids isn't your kid. It's this other guy's kid. I see him on Instagram liking all of the photos that your wife posts with that kid in it. Like just super below the belt stuff that nobody that like I don't want to say cause like the beefs of our time, the Nas's and Jay-Z's, the Big and Tupac's were like, I'll kill you. I'll shoot you. I'll drive by and shoot you. Like, so like, I can't say it's worse than that stuff, but like those guys didn't do what these two are doing.
Yeah, this is, I'm going to go and say petty and
like below the belt. And then
it's mean.
Yeah. After Family Matters, I think Kendrick wrote the most below the belt diss track that will ever exist. I don't think anyone would ever do what he does in this next track because it's crazy. So the next track, Kendrick writes a song, but Kendrick is like masterful with the pen. He's like a lyricist god. He writes a song, but it's not a song. It's four letters that he's writing to everyone in Drake's family. The song's called Meet the Grams. The first one, he writes a letter to Drake's son about how his dad is useless and his dad is this terrible example and he won't, he won't become a man because Drake's not a man to teach him how to be a man. Then he writes a letter to Drake's dad where he basically says, you raised a crappy son and when I see people like your son, I want them all to die and this is all your fault and you should never have had kids.
Oh God.
Then he writes a letter to Drake's mom where he basically says the same thing. Like, your son, you raised a crappy son and he's terrible to women because you weren't a good example of a woman to him and like all of this crap. Then the last letter is to what Kendrick thinks and what people haven't been able to prove is to Drake's daughter that he doesn't claim that everyone says like exists with that no one has proved that this girl exists, but like he wrote a letter to her about how her dad doesn't love her or if he did he would have claimed her and like just disgusting. Like this freaking Meet the Grams is like the worst diss that I've ever heard until the next one that Kendrick writes.
Oh my gosh.
And all of the songs that I'm talking about came out within the span of like the as soon as the diss track started, all of these came out within the span of like a week and a half. Like all the way from push-ups all the way to the last diss. This was 1 week of these two artists going back and forth with each other. So after Meet the Grams, Kendrick drops another song, and it's called Not Like Us. And Not Like Us is just basically him calling Drake a pedophile. Like he's just basically like, you like little girls. Like the main the main line from this song is him talking about how Drake is trying to strike a chord and it's probably a minor. Like he
Oh.
he is
Ugh.
literally basically like, this song is basically him saying, Drake, you're a pedophile. Everyone you know is a pedophile. Anyone who's famous and knows you, she needs to keep their kids away from you because you're a disgusting pedophile.
Oh my god.
So that then Not Like Us drops. So then Drake releases the final song of this disc, and then it's called The Heart Part 6. And in The Heart Part 6, Drake basically is like, I'm not a pedophile, but the thing that people are like freaking out about is there was a period in time where Drake was hanging out with the girl from Stranger Things. And people were like, this is weird. Why are you hanging out with the girl from Stranger Things? Like, she's too young. Why are you hanging out with her? But like, he says like, she never said anything happened between them. He never said anything happened between them. He denies it. But like, he specifically says like, nothing happened between us. Like, I don't know why you're on this beef. But then to turn around and like dig, like, it seems like Kendrick has been doing all the digging, but then in this song, Drake basically says, I was listening to your album and there's a part in it where you're definitely talking about getting molested as a kid. That's why you're so obsessed with this idea that I'm a pedophile, because you were molested.
Oh my
And,
god.
and, and you beat your wife and half your kids aren't yours and you walk around with this like superior attitude, but you were talking about how you're so good at raising your kids. You haven't seen your kids in 6 months. You don't live with them. Like they're just, it was like it's exactly what Kendrick had been spitting out back at him. But like, that's the last song of the beef so far. Like that no one has released a track. This one came out on May 5th. Like I said, like I was saying before, the
Where do you go from there?
I don't know how any they could get any farther into the dirt with this. Like, so like the first the first like set of diss tracks came out. Push-ups came out April 13th, and then and then April 26th is when the freestyle with Tupac and Snoop came out, and then Kendrick drops Euphoria on April 30th, and then 616 in LA on May 3rd, and then Drake drops Family Matters on May 3rd in response to Euphoria, and then an hour after that, Kendrick drops Meet the Grams, and then the next day, Kendrick drops Not Like Us, and then the day after that, Drake drops The Heart Part 6. So like almost all of these songs came out within a week of each other.
Yikes, dude.
So that is the entirety of the beef so far. I don't know if more tracks are going to come out, but both of them have been silent since The Heart Part 6 came out.
Yeah, that's. I think it's pretty mean.
It's once they got past push-ups, it was everything that happened after that point was way beyond what you should be doing in a rap beef.
Yeah.
Like literally in push-ups, Drake calls Kendrick short. He says, "You short. You have small feet."
Yeah.
And Euphoria, basically, Kendrick is doing a therapy session if your therapist hated you and just wanted to tell you about it.
Yes.
It's wild. Okay, so I'm gonna skip to talking about the internet's reaction to all of this and where we're at right now. So after basically Not Like Us came out, It's the second to last song where he basically calls Drake a pedophile. Not Like Us was playing in the club. People were dancing to that. Like, it's number one song right now in the world, and it has been for like a week. Like, the internet wholly decided that Kendrick won this. Like, the internet, people were talking about how like Kendrick is the greatest hater of all time, and they need to step their hating up because Kendrick has raised the bar on what a hater looks like. Like, the internet has decided that Kendrick won this. I personally don't think that Kendrick won as handily as people said he did, because Kendrick kind of displays himself as like the proper rapper. Like, he displays himself as kind of like, I'm going to show you guys how to like live and be a man and be, and like raise your kids and, like, he's kind of on that, like, I'm the example you should follow, and I'm writing about it so you guys can like hear it and know where to go and how to be. And then, basically came out that he beat his wife, he cheated on her, he, doesn't see his kids. It's like, I don't know if that makes you, I don't know if, even though you were dissing Drake, I don't know if him putting all that stuff out in the light and you not denying it makes you win this. But like, the internet has basically been like, yeah, Kendrick won. Like there are memes of like Kendrick with like, as like Kendrick as like Goku, and Drake is like Frieza, and then Drake throws his final blast at Kendrick and it says the heart part 6, and then Kendrick goes Kamehame not like us, and then Drake gets blasted, and then Kendrick turns away and turns off his Super Saiyan and flies off. Like people are like very convinced that Drake won this, or that Kendrick won this, and I'm like, okay, well,
yeah,
I kind of think both of you are really bad people now. So like, I don't know if either of you win in this. Like,
well, and that's kind of what I was getting ready to say. Like, the whole thing sounded like a race to the bottom.
Yeah, 100%.
Whoever can sink the lowest comes out on top, if that makes sense. I don't know what's better. The sort of, I'm gonna go back on that, because murder's never good. A lot of those would end in murder.
Someone getting shot up.
Yeah. This is just kind of it's a very high profile Twitter beef. It's just they're using more than 120 characters. Name calling, like middle school type stuff.
Yeah. It was like,
it sounds dumb.
It's pretty dumb, honestly. Like, the thing that I think is crazy about this whole thing, though, is like, Drake, Lee is here. He wants some attention. Hi, Lee. The thing about this is just like the way that rap beefs used to work is like, you had to get in the studio, you had to make the song, you had to, put it on an album or like release it to the radio. It had to hit the radio. Then people had to like listen to the radio to hear it. And then like people would like, it would spread over like weeks of people, of just like, because of the timing, because of the time it took to like get it out there. But now, because of the internet, you can literally like, Drake dropped one song and then Kendrick dropped another song 6 minutes later. Like,
that's the one thing that I really heard was the 6 minute response time, and that is insane.
Yeah, that's nuts. Like he dropped a song and someone said, "Hey Kendrick, Drake dropped that song. You gonna release yours?" And he was like, "Yeah, I've been waiting for something to pop off. So here we go." 6 minutes later, there's a freaking response to it. Like,
and how long was the response?
Like, no, all of these are full length. Like, 6, 7 minute long songs. All of them are.
So it's almost like the thing hit, and like he's listening to it. And as he's listening to it, like he's reacting to it, but he's doing it into a live microphone,
Yeah.
kind of, and then it gets recorded. And that is insane.
It's crazy. And so like if you sit down and listen to like all of these songs back to back, it's basically an entire album. They basically wrote an entire album going back and forth with each other in like maybe 20 days.
I'm looking forward to them going out on tour together.
The craziest part, one of the craziest things about this beef is that for a long time, J. Cole and Kendrick were talking about doing a freaking joint album.
Yeah.
And then Kendrick is dissing afterwards. Like, this whole thing was wild. It's just the way it went down was super crazy. It was it was so crazy that like, so like I follow artists mostly on Twitter, artists and YouTubers and stuff like that. Just is mostly the people that I follow on Twitter. Like, people that you have never heard say a rap lyric in your life were commenting on this. Like Taylor Swift has comments on this beef. Like,
of course she does.
Like, RuPaul has comments on this beef. Like, it was crazy. And then my favorite part of this, to wrap this story up so beautifully, in the tiniest little bow of Aaron's circular thought. I don't know if it was May 5th or May 6th. It might have been May 6th. May 6th, Elon Musk drops one comment that says, everyone is talking about this beef, and it has been silence from Drake and Kendrick since that time. Not one word has been said. The whole thing has completely died off just because Elon Musk opened his mouth one time. Because Elon Musk is the worst, and he's the ruiner of everything. He said he dropped one tweet. It's 7 words, and it's over. Nobody's talking about it anymore.
He's the hall monitor that comes out in the hallway and says, now, guys.
Exactly.
Everybody's going to get detention.
Exactly.
Let me see your hall pass.
And it's over. No one's talking about it anymore. The internet has completely moved on. Literally,
he's got a big red switch that he hit.
Literally, two of the biggest artists, literally of all time, are having a beef that is so explosive that they were literally released an entire album dissing each other in 2 weeks. And Elon Musk says one word and it's over.
That's stroke for you, bud.
I hate this guy.
I mean, he owns the platform, I guess. So he's kind of entitled to that, I guess. Right?
Oh my God. This thing was absolutely crazy. And they like, what I'm telling you about it isn't even actually all of it, because Drake in that song Push-Ups, he's not just aiming at Kendrick, he's aiming at a bunch of other people too. And there are like 7 or 8 other songs by different artists that he mentioned where they just like are talking shit about Drake, and in all of those songs Drake's talking shit back to them. It's just, this thing has gotten so wild. There isn't even we'd have to have the entire episode just talking about this to kind of explain everyone who gets brought up in this thing.
That's funny, dude.
It's wild.
Well, I got a couple minutes left. You want to hit these 2 new segments real quick and then call it a day?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to take it all up with the drama.
You're good, dude. Like that was I'm actually gonna put on Apple Music here a little bit and see if I can go down the whole like plot line and all that stuff.
You're in for a ride,
dude. I'm looking forward to it. I specifically didn't listen to anything because I wanted to hear your version of it before I actually started doing homework and stuff. So I got a couple different new. Brett's bothered. We're gonna get into that a little bit. Just real quick. Microsoft.
Yeah, fuck them. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Can we just take a minute here and just say fuck Microsoft? Like, I don't know, man. I haven't been a big fan of the whole like consolidation thing. It the good guy Microsoft stuff like really bothered me from the get go because you kind of if you paid any attention to like what they did to Lionhead back in the day, they're the guys that did Fable.
Hmm.
You know that they bought Lionhead after they had done Fable and kind of mismanaged that team into the ground to the point where after Peter Molyneux had left, they turned them into a 4v1 multiplayer team and then just completely guttered it. I had a feeling they were going to start doing some of that, especially like after the Bethesda stuff, you know, when they bought Bethesda, but like after they bought Activision Blizzard, man, it was just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
But the Tango stuff, man, I know there were 4 teams that were closed, but the Tango stuff really bothers me. Just how good Hi-Fi Rush was and how much they really kind of propped that up. That was their really only big game last year. And I am thinking about Starfield as well. Starfield was a big dud, in my opinion. But I don't know, man. I'm getting real tired of this stuff. And I know that, you know, layoffs are big right now in the gaming industry and it's real sad. You know, a lot of these places are going to start cutting back big and Microsoft is I think from what I saw the other day, like they're somewhere in the woods of like 30,000 employees just under the Xbox umbrella,
Mm-hmm.
which is nuts. But yeah, dude, and they're saying like this isn't like the end of it, but I I am going to say here now I'm done with Xbox like for good. I had a good run with it. I do really enjoy the original Xbox and the 360 especially, but they never really recovered from the Xbox One stuff, and they've been scratching and clawing. Actually, the best analogy that I saw on everything was Ryan McCaffrey over on IGN was saying like every time they do something good, they step on a rake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'll take a few good steps out into the world, and you know, you get the Fallout show right now, and Fallout's doing real great right now, and then they step on a rake and flip out 4 studios. So yeah, it's just you know
Yeah.
their games are always coming. You know, just hold on just a little bit longer. Games are always coming. You know, it's been over 10 years now. I think them going third party, or at the very least, I don't understand why they keep making hardware, but then releasing their games on PlayStation, Switch, and all that. I did buy Hi-Fi Rush on PlayStation in the wake of all that, just as I guess the show support to Tango, but you know, Xbox still gets a rip of that. So I mean, I guess I'm kind of feeding the beast, but I did sell my Xbox. I don't play it anyways, so it was already boxed up and all that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
Drake still has his, but
I just
they will get no more money from this guy.
I just don't
Uh,
like the thing that I saw, like, you know, the studios getting shut down is like, you know, it's always bad. I'm never excited about it, but like the thing that bothers me about that one is the thing that they said is like, this is the reason that we shuttered that studio is, we need to realign things. We needed to make sure we're getting, we need more games that give us prestigious awards. It's like Hi-Fi Rush won awards. It was like the only
oh yeah,
Xbox game that did. Like,
yeah, and especially in a year that Starfield released
yeah.
like that. It's that if I would not have had that on my bingo card at all, but the quality of the things that Tango puts out, and I'm pissed off about Tango specifically. I was really pissed off about Fable when that happened, but and Lionhead because I love Fable so much, but Tango specifically, like from the Evil Within to Ghostwire Tokyo to now Hi-Fi Rush. I mean, they put out great video games, and the other thing too with that, Microsoft says that they want the prestige, like you were saying, but they also just recently were talking about making wanted to make the push into Japan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they got the partners with Square Enix and all that. They're going to bring Visions of Mana to the Xbox. and then you go and close your one fucking Japanese studio.
It's just
That's
like,
the only it's the only Japanese studio that they had, and they closed.
yeah, it's just like I know that it's just the gaming industry, and there's some, big wig who's, 5 steps up from whatever, whatever studio, just like, pulling the strings and, pointing his finger. But like the answer was like they were talking about games that were years out. It's like, that's how you fucking make games.
Yeah.
Games don't get made overnight. You like, no matter how, you know, how skilled the studio you're dealing with is, if you want them to make good games, then yes, they're years out. That's the whole
Yeah.
point. If you don't,
Well, and
if
you
that's
have to
not part of
invest
your,
in them too.
yeah, if that's not part of your model, then maybe don't absorb a bunch of studios. Like, maybe do some research on how these studios output before you start buying them up. Like,
Oh, dude, 100%. So they're adopting these studios and cultures, which I mean, most of them don't have. I know they got like Compulsion and like NX Nile and stuff, and they got games that are like, you know, quite a ways out. Machine Games has got Indiana Jones later in the year and all that stuff. Hellblade's taken like what 5 something years or whatever since they've announced it. But you're adopting these studios that have, in some cases, completely different culture than you. Bethesda being, a very big corporation, Activision Blizzard being a very, very big corporation, and then you're expecting them to fit that mold. And I don't mean to be comparative and stuff, but it's video gaming. That's what we do. But you look at PlayStation, and they have a stable of first party teams that are they always have something cooking. A lot of them, they started from the ground up. And in the case of some of them, making acquisitions, they made acquisitions that made sense to their business. For example, Insomniac.
mm-hmm.
Insomniac has that history with PlayStation, whereas something like, oh gosh, well, even Tango, when they bought Tango, which is part of Bethesda. Tango had it actually. Bethesda in general had 2 PlayStation exclusives in the pipeline. So before those, like when they bought Bethesda, those games didn't even they still had those deals in place for PlayStation. It doesn't really make sense. So PlayStation, years ago, like your Square Enix's, your Capcom really supported them from a game point gameplay or words from a game standpoint, release standpoint and all that. But when you get to the PS3 era, they've got Sony Santa Monica with God of War and all that, but they really had to build up their portfolio.
Right.
And over the last, 10, 15 years or whatever, like they're a prestige studio now because they took it from the ground level and built it up. Xbox doesn't have that. They just choose to absorb things and make it their own where it doesn't always make sense.
Yeah. It's
Does it make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It definitely feels like part of the problem, and it's pursuing, like, its continuing issue is that, Sony is looking, and I'm not gonna sit here and brag on Sony because Sony's got its beefs too, but like
Totally.
Sony's looking at everything from a, you know, we need to build our game library, and we're looking at everything from like there's going to be a PlayStation 6, there's going to be a PlayStation 7. So this studio that we're working with might not put out, might not be, exactly what we want, but we're going to work with them so that when we get to the PlayStation 5, these titles can come out, and they can come out as bangers because we had the studios who've been, working with us since the PS3. And then,
Right.
like, Xbox just feels like, hey, guess what? Our dad's Microsoft. Like, money's not an issue, so just buy the companies that we need.
Yeah. I don't get it, man. And like I said, I'm a big, especially as I get older, putting my money where my mouth is. I can't support that anymore. I am a shareholder with Microsoft. Like I do have stock in Microsoft, so I'm not going to get completely out of it that way. But I can still vote with my wallet. As they put games on PlayStation, I don't have a problem buying those games. I really don't. But as far as like their consoles are concerned, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling Halo coming to PlayStation 5 is a inevitability at this point. And when that day comes, and it's not a matter of if, it's when. that's the day that you sound the trumpets, dude. Like Xbox is dead at that point. So fuck them.
You got some more Brett drama. You need to.
Next part's not drama.
Okay.
So I want to call this next segment a retro minute.
I like it.
Doing a little bit of retro gaming and all that. I am still collecting from my Sega Genesis. It's a very quick little thing here, but I just dropped a whole bunch of money on Sega Genesis games.
I dropped some money on Sega Genesis games too.
Counter hardcore. What's that?
I dropped some money on Sega Genesis too.
You did?
Yeah, I got you that Vector Man.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I completely forgot about that. That was a crazy day. But I found they had like Sonic and Knuckles, and I appreciate that too, by the way. Love you for that.
No problem. I mean, literally standing in front of it, it's $10. I'll put $10 down for some classic gaming. No problem.
Dude, Vector Man rules.
Absolutely.
But I also found complete in box Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I didn't buy it. Like, Sega's really easy to collect for, especially because those clamshell boxes, they hold up so well.
Mm-hmm.
And even when they're just a little bit dirty, dude, I wash them in my kitchen sink. That kind of, yeah, they're great. But what I wanted to talk about in this real quick retro minute is what CIB means, complete in box. Because I've seen in some cases, especially like when I've gone to like local video game stores, they don't seem to know exactly what CIB means. Complete in box means it contains everything in the box that would be there, it would be present when you bought it at retail.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
So a lot of these quote unquote collectors that kind of like picked up the hobby during like COVID and all that other stuff, like retro video games really boomed during the pandemic. You have a lot of these people selling stuff on eBay, CIB. So Genesis is easy to collect for because, like I said, the clamshell box really helps protect that front cover art. Whereas with like old Nintendo games, that cardboard tends to kind of wear down.
That cardboard is actually the enemy of gamers. Like it's so easy to damage. It's so easy it gets creases and then the images like start to fade.
Later Genesis games actually started adopting those cardboard boxes, which makes some of those ones kind of hard to collect for, which is why I was so excited to find a Sonic and Knuckles complete in box. Or so I thought. Sonic and Knuckles, I think, was fine. I think it was Sonic 3 that actually didn't have the extra little accoutrements, the registration card for Sega and all that stuff. That's what makes things complete in box, and that's what makes things retain their value. So these jabronis this guy sold an entire Genesis collection. So they had a bunch of stuff CIB, or what it said so on the sticker and all that. So in that run, I bought 4 games. I bought Contra, I bought Castlevania, I bought Sonic 3, and I bought Sonic and Knuckles, all in the box.
Mm-hmm.
So Sonic and Knuckles actually had the instruction manual, the box, and then the inserts that go with it and all that stuff. Castlevania, on the other hand, did not have the little card with it. So they were charging for the CIB price and not including everything. So necessarily for an educational thing. Like if you're selling something complete box, make sure that it's actually complete box.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love doing the Sega stuff. It's been fun doing this with my son. I've got my little CRT television and we've got that thing hooked up on there. It looks beautiful on there. I don't know Sega Genesis as well because I didn't have a whole lot of the games and stuff. I knew kind of what other people had. So it's been fun kind of going back to that and, buy back what I had as a kid and then buy extra stuff, just disposable income. So anyway, that's all I got.
I'm so excited. Andrea doesn't, I totally want to do Sega Saturn and Dreamcast. I'm really, when I get at some point in the future, we are going to be moving into a bigger house so I can have an office again. And when I have my office, Sega Saturn and Dreamcast I'm going to start my collection where battle collections versus each other.
I think that would be something really cool to kind of do for the pod too. Because like where I collected for the Dreamcast,
Hmm.
I didn't do anything with the Saturn. So I had a lot of Dreamcast games, but I have absolutely, other than what you guys had at your house, I have no experience with the Saturn. So that'd be kind of something kind of cool to do to, alongside each other, like compare pickups
Yeah,
and all that good stuff.
absolutely. It'll be fun for the pod. Just
Yeah.
get something new and we can talk about it on here. So yeah, I'm down.
Oh yeah. You gonna do some outros?
Yep.
I've been talking for a while.
So what I'm just gonna do my thing I'm thankful for. Me and Andrea started this thing where we kind of, because basically both of us were taking care of the kids on Saturday and Sunday, so neither one of us got to have any sort of weekend, and we would just both be dealing with kids all day, both days. So we started a thing where we would, I take one day, she takes the other day, and one of us handles the kids all day that day, and so the other one can have a break, and then we switch on the other weekend day. So we started this last week, and then today, today is my day to be kind of off. So I tried to plan everything that I wanted to do today so that I wasn't interrupting any of her stuff. So I've been trying to work on getting my portfolio done for like at this point, it's like almost a year. I got more work on my portfolio done last weekend than I had in the entire year before that. Like,
Yeah.
just having the time and like being able to just focus and know that, I have that time to do it. I've been able to get so much done. It's awesome. Like, if you're out there listening and you're not like sectioning some time to like mentally work on your own goals, you need to put some time aside to do it because it's so worth it. So that's mine.
Yeah. I second that. Time is our most valuable currency. That's the one thing that we spend and can never get back. Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to get like super existential with that stuff, but that's incredibly true. Money you can spend and you can work hard to earn it back and all that stuff, but you can't do that with time. And time for yourself is incredibly precious.
Absolutely.
So we gotta take care of our own mental health because nobody else is going to take care of it for us.
I am.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm excited because like tonight is like me and Andrea's chill night, and we are absolutely gonna get drunk and play some Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm extending this, but like last time we got drunk, we played Mario 3 versus. I forgot how fun that thing is, just in its simplicity. We had a blast. I had so much fun.
Are you talking about the 2-player mode, the versus mode in
Mario 3, yeah.
Mario 3?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it's really simple, but like it's simple in this way that like instead of like actually versus battling, you're trying to like set up traps for the other oh my god, we had so much fun. And then add alcohol to it, 10 out of 10 IGN.
The funny story about that, my grandpa Bill wasn't great at a lot of video games. He's the one that really introduced me to games.
Mm.
He was great at that mode. And he was such a fucking troll.
He
would do the trap.
It's the name of the game. You have to be a troll to win at that. You have to be. And Andrea, because Andrea's anything Mario related, Andrea's really good at. So like when we first started playing, I totally forgot that the coins were a thing. So I was like,
yeah,
why are you staying up at the top? Why is she staying up at the top all the time? And then she literally like beat me 3 rounds in a row on coins. And I was like, it was so much fun. Sorry, please go ahead.
Strategy. No. I kind of forgot that mode actually existed. So, I'll have to give that a try with Drake sometime. So he'll hate me even more. So he already doesn't play Mario Kart with me. So, but nobody will play Mario Kart with me. Yeah, I wonder why.
You don't play motion controls, so.
No, I don't play motion controls because I want to win. Damn it.
But motion controls and alcohol is what makes it fun.
Nah.
Well, not what makes it
the
fun.
Last time I actually took a handicap on that, I was playing with my nephews, and they didn't know any better. This is my sister's adoptive kid, so she's got three of her own and then three stepkids. So they were playing multiple players and all that stuff, and all they had were just the little Joy Cons on their sides. So I took that little thing and just completely demolished them. I don't know how I did it with that tiny thing, but I did it. So it's a skill thing, brother. I think even if I did motion controls, I think I'd probably still do okay. I don't know.
You got to do motion controls, man.
Maybe
Two drinks and motion controls is like, that's like my peak weekend, honestly.
yeah.
As I've become an adult, 2 drinks and motion controls on Mario Kart, peak.
We used to do that where we would play. It was like Mario Kart 64, I think. But we would play. It was me and my roommates, and you have to like finish your beer before the end of the race, and then you can't drink and drive.
Right. So you have to either drink when you're falling off, or you have to like stop to drink and then pick it back up again. Yeah, I played that.
That's where boys become men. So
me and Andrea just play, like, since it's the two of us sitting on our couch, we just play whoever, if you don't get first place, you drink. And then whoever the highlight reel focuses on, that person drinks.
Oh my gosh.
So basically,
that's brutal.
If you're playing too good, that means you need more alcohol. And if you're getting your butt kicked in the highlights, then you're playing too soft and you need more alcohol.
Interesting.
All right,
I don't know if I would survive.
Well, I mean, if you're playing too good, then eventually you're going to get drunk enough that you're not going to be playing too good, and then solves the problem. The problem solves itself. It just means you're going to be getting drunk first.
I don't know about that. I think even if I don't know, we need to get a day because I don't drink very much. But even when I do, I'm a tank. We need to get a day where I can get like a ride or something like that. I'll come down and school you guys.
Oh, bring it on.
All right, bub.
Yep.
Hell of an episode.
Just I'm still cracking up that like 40% of this episode is me explaining the Kendrick and Drake beef.
Well, like, how is that different than the WrestleMania episode from a few weeks back? It's the same exact thing.
All right, man. I love you. I'll talk to you later.
Love you too, brother. Have a good one.
Yep. Peace.
Bye.